Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Sophia Wardell, and today we have a very special guest, theater producer, director, and playwright Robert Cacioppo. Spanning a career of more than 35 years, Robert Cacioppo has directed well over 200 professional productions. Currently co-founder and artistic director of Players Circle Theater in Fort Myers, Florida, Robert was honored by the Florida Professional Theaters Association with the Richard G. Fallon Award for Excellence in Professional Theater for his tenacity, vision, passion, and leadership for his work of creating professional theater in the state of Florida for over the past 35 years. Thanks for joining us today, Robert.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Sure, we're so happy to have you. And I've been looking forward to today because I want to specifically talk about with you writing a show from scratch. I know you've done it many a time. And so could you just start us off with telling us a little bit about what are the initial steps that you would take when starting to write a new play or musical from scratch?
To really be truthful, I'm primarily a director. I've directed over 200 professional productions. I am not a playwright, but I'm also a producer. And so, really, my whole career, I've been running theaters. First, a theater on Sanibel Island for 10 years. We made it the first professional theater in Southwest Florida. Then, the biggest theater was Florida Rep, where we did a new play series and developed a lot of plays and made friendships with playwrights, and now Players Circle Theater. So my experience of writing something has really been creating musical reviews. I have the idea, wouldn't it be clever to tell a linear story from beginning to end with no dialogue, only using the songs of Cole Porter?
Right.
And it was something I did in a one-act version in a college class. It was very, very well received. And I did a few other versions of it. Maybe I did 10 other versions of developing it at different theaters. But then about 5 years ago, I came up with, when I had a bigger theater, I came up with a new title. Instead of calling it Cold, I called it Love Lost. I called it Night and Day, a Cole Porter song, Love Lost and Found Through the Eyes of Cole Porter. And basically the premise was it was two couples, they were friends. Cole Porter lived a rather decadent life, being a gay man, married to a woman. And it was two friends. The idea was to get to know who Cole Porter was. So we wanted to create characters like Cole Porter. They were going to be wealthy. I researched Cole Porter's house. He lived in the Berkshires besides in Manhattan. Well, to make a long story short, that was, I kept on writing it and rewriting and redeveloping it. And then the problem was I needed to get the rights from the Cole Porter estate. And eventually, I had two partners in this, someone that wrote the music, someone that did the choreography. And eventually, we were able to get a relationship with the Cole Porter estate. And we were able to negotiate with them that they would get 4% of royalties. And normally, for people not in the business, when you do a straight play, Odd Couple, or any straight play, usually 8% is what theaters have to pay for royalties. If you do a musical, it's usually higher. It's 12%, because there are lyricists and choreographer and the guy that wrote the music and the guy that wrote the book. So in this case, for our team, we paid the Cole Porter estate 4%, and we still have the rights to do this, and we got 8%. Now, I want to go back to starting a show from scratch that I have been involved as a director. And right now, I'm going to be doing the second production of a play. His name is Bruce Graham. He wrote a play called Flatlanders. And we are doing the second production of the play at our theater next spring at Players Circle Theater. He got the idea to write this play He lives in Philadelphia, but a friend of his and the friend's wife or girlfriend were driving through the Poconos, which is a mountainous area near Philadelphia, and they had a car crash in a snowstorm, and their car went down a hill. And here they're in the Poconos at night in the middle of nowhere, and their car is stranded. They don't know where to go. And this couple, my friend Bruce's friends, broke into a trailer that looked empty because they needed to survive. So Bruce took this real story that happened to friends, and that inspired him. Wouldn't that be a great idea for a play? And so then he normally, I think it makes sense if you have an idea for a play to sketch out maybe how you see the play shaping. And he wrote it for then he had two specific actors and a theater that wanted a new play of Bruce's. So he said, all right, this was going to be about a couple that were going to their own marriage, but they had been together for 14 years because this couple was an older couple. And the play opens up in an empty house, and then you hear banging on a door. You see people, a snowstorm out the window and door. These people break into the house, and the story for the next 2 hours is how they break into the house and how they all start scavenging for food. There's no electricity. They try to start a fire, and all the mayhem that happens over the course. But I think he also wanted to make it a bit of a romance, that this adventure brought this couple closer together and so on. But that's interesting. I think that Bruce took a real story that happened to a friend and then manipulated it. And then he was doing it for a theater that he knew he could sell it with two actors that he knew. And now I like the play very much, and we are definitely doing the play. But I would like some changes and some adjustments to the script. So in the fall, Bruce is flying in from Philadelphia to Florida, and I know the two actors I want, and we're going to spend 3 or 4 afternoons reading through the plays, maybe rewriting some. It's a comedy, and he's a very, very funny guy, and that's the story of Bruce. That first is the story of me writing musical reviews, and the story how Bruce took an idea and spun it and used his own imagination.
Well, that's fascinating, Robert. And I want to transition a little bit to the technicality of it all. How do you balance a creative vision with practical considerations such as staging and budget constraints?
I would warn any novice playwright or someone wanting to write a play, maybe having the talent and skill to write a play. You're not writing a movie. I think right off the bat, someone that doesn't have experience as a playwright will have like 18 different locations and move from one place to another to another to another. And there are ways you could do that on stage, but for the most part, you want to be in one location.
Right.
So in the case of Fascinating Gershwin, we friends were in Gershwin's apartment, and we recreated it. And in the cold case of Cole Porter, it was Cole Porter's summer home in the Berkshires. In the case of Flatland, they're in one location in Flatland. So I would say I would steer away as a producer from a play that had multiple locations. Of course, you can do those kinds of plays with bare sets, and you are using, like a play, like a musical, like Come From Away. They just use a bunch of tables and chairs, and I'll pull a light here. We're in this kitchen. Pull a light here. These 3 chairs are a couch, and and so on. So the normal rule of thumb that I would say a professional production would have: you're going to rehearse an hour for every minute of a play. So if a play is 120, 2 hours long, you're going to rehearse 120 hours. So you're going to rehearse 40 hours a week full time for 3 weeks. Now, I think a new play may need more than that, and a new play where you have a playwright is involved. But I would say, you know, a simple locale. And yeah, and sometimes Act One will take place here, and Act Two you turn around the set. I felt there was a point in my career that I was running theaters for 30 years, and I was not doing nothing but taking plays that have been done before, plays that won Tony Awards and Pulitzer Prizes, and I've had, 20, 30, 40 productions. And I thought, I need to give back. I need to nurture playwrights. And that's when about 15 or so years ago, I started doing new play series and bringing playwrights in and doing readings. And that's a whole other thing that a lot of major theaters do.
Lastly, where can our listeners find and connect with you?
They can connect with me through Players Circle Theater, which is my professional theater in Southwest Florida, and they can actually go to my email, rcacioppo, CACIOPPO, at playerscircle.org.
That's all the time we have for today. Thank you everyone for tuning in to today's interview with theater producer, director, and playwright Robert Cacioppo. Be sure to check out our website for more videos. Wishing you all a fulfilling and successful writing journey.